recording. For anybody that's taking the time to watch the recording, shout out to you one time for taking the time to watch this back on the replay. And for those of you guys that are here, shout out to you for taking the time to be here, man. Shout out to you for taking the time to be here and actually be a part of this amazing opportunity that we have going on here with the Revolt free trial, the 3-day boot camp. And we got people tapped in from all over the place. We've got, let's see here, we got Calgary, we got Lincoln, Nebraska, Edmonton, we've got Oregon, we've got Nigeria, Serbia, Hungary. We got Nebraska and Calgary is deep today. We got a lot of people tapped in from Nebraska and Calgary. Let's go. We got Winnipeg in the house. We got Santa Cruz, Bolivia. Amazing. Good to see some familiar faces and some familiar names in the chats. Love to see it. We got DC, Ontario, Daytona Beach, Jamaica in the building. Guys, excited to be here. Grand Prairie in the house as well. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Miami, Australia. There we go. I knew there'd be someone that's tapped in on a Tuesday morning. There we go. Australia in the house. Alaska, Mexico. Amazing, guys. Excited to be here and excited to be hosting, this first day of the boot camp and free trial. For those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Donovan Taylor, also known as Donnie. And I've been in the world of trading, investing, entrepreneurship as a whole now for 7 years. It was actually my 7 year anniversary on the 13th of April, which is crazy. I've been doing this for a long time. I feel like a grandpa in the space. I know a lot of you guys are completely brand new. I know some of you have been doing this for a few weeks, a few months, whatever the case may be, but excited to be here, guys. And I'm excited to share some information that I wish was shared with me when I first started. I had an opportunity to get involved in this industry in 2018. And I just got excited because I was someone who, at the time, fresh out of high school, I was about to go into university, and I was looking for ways to increase my income without getting a third job. I was actually working two jobs at the time, one at Shoppers Drug Mart, and I was also doing before and after school programs, which I absolutely love doing. I've always been a people person. I've always been someone who's very passionate about helping others. And so that was something I was very, very passionate about. But I felt like I was kind of capped in the income I could make as an 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid at the time. And so I started to explore this online world, which is so vast and opportune. I mean, it's crazy. There's so many people that are making an income from the internet, from their phones, from their computers. And so I started to kind of explore ways that I could go about monetizing, my phone or my computer through different high income skills. And so I came across the opportunity of trading and investing. Believe it or not, I actually started in crypto in 2018, and that very quickly expanded into foreign exchange, into stocks, into commodities, and basically everything that we now have access to trade using these specific platforms that we do use. By the way, side note, if you don't have your camera on and you're in a position to do so, it would be great to see some more beautiful faces. Okay, we got close to 60 people tapped in today, and I only see a few faces. Would love to see some more faces. There we go. Some more cameras are turning on. Amazing. Good to see you guys. But don't be shy. We don't bite. We don't bite here. We're all very, very welcoming, and it's everybody's looking fantastic, beautiful, handsome, the whole nine yards. Okay, we love to see it. We love to see it. But guys, excited to get into some information that I was really, it's crazy. My first year, I'll just share this little bit of backstory. I think this is relevant. Okay, in just looking back and reflecting on the journey, which has been 7 years now officially for me. When I started in 2018, I didn't have any sort of guidance. I just saw the opportunity of putting my money to work for me in the markets. I was working two jobs, had a good income for my age, and I was like, man, how can I go about scaling and increasing my income without getting a third job, right? Like I said. And so I was inspired to get involved in the world of cryptocurrency, to get involved in the world of trading and investing. And I didn't really know up from down or left from right. I didn't come from like a rich family. I came from practically a lower middle class family. So, neither of my parents were really financially literate. Neither of them were super into investing. They had investments, okay, nothing too crazy. And so I had to do a lot of independent research my first year and to learn a lot through trial and error and just falling on my face until I figured it out. And so today, the opportunity that I want to share with you guys is how you can basically go about getting started. Obviously, we have 3 days of training and overviews, which is going to be exciting. There's going to be opportunity for you guys to literally be a part of this 3 day boot camp and free trial and actually turn your first profit over the course of these next 3 days, which is exciting as well. But what took me close to a year to try and figure out independently, I want to give to you guys over the span of the next 45 minutes to an hour and really make sure that you have the tools and the understanding that is necessary at a very rudimentary, basic, foundational level to go about really making the best of the next 3 days. So if you guys are excited for this free trial, if you're excited, maybe you're completely brand new, maybe you're fresh off the boat, no idea what to expect on this call. If that's you, perfect, you're in the right place. But who's excited? Let me get some energy in the chat. Who's excited for this next 3 day period? We're going to have some phenomenal trade ideas shared. We're going to have some phenomenal training shared. And so go ahead and just, blow up the chat with your favorite emojis, drop some eights in the chat. Eight is the number of abundance. All right. It's the number of infinity, turn the eight sideways. You know what I mean? Anyways, all right, get some eights in the chat. There we go. Perfect. Amazing. You guys are fired up. I'm glad to see. And so let's go ahead and dive into it, man. I could spend a lot more time going into my story, but it's not so much about me as much as it is about you guys and making sure that you guys are equipped with the tools to go out there and succeed at a high level. So the first thing I want to do is really just, first and foremost is welcome you guys to the Revolt free trial. And let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. I made this little, nothing too crazy, just a little slideshow. All right. And we're going to do some stuff off slides, off the books, so to speak. Okay. I don't want to be boring you're going to be learning today. Like you're just going to feel like you're in school, but you're learning something that's going to actually get you paid over the next few days. I remember showing up to school in university my first year and, and I was just like on the charts in class. I was just fired up, taking trades in class, having a good time making money while I was at school. And so I want you to understand that this is like, going to be fun. It's going to be interactive. And I want to start by welcoming you to the free trial. I made this little cool animation thingy on Canva. Shout out to Canva one time. But if we're not already connected on social media, feel free to connect with me. My Instagram's in the bottom right corner. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. Okay. So free trial day one, what to expect today is really an overview of the trade ideas, how to understand trade ideas, how to understand trading at a very basic and rudimentary level, and also the platforms that we use to trade. Now, if you haven't already, one thing that I'll say that's kind of a prerequisite to this call, and if you haven't gone through it, don't worry. You're not behind schedule, you're right on time. But if you haven't already gone through the kind of fast start that we've put together, I'm going to drop this in the chat for you guys to go ahead and just click on this link. You can favorite this, go through this afterwards. But this is the A to Z, how to get set up and have everything in a position where you can really make the most of the next 3 days with this boot camp and free trial. So we put together this little fast start section. It's really downloading and getting everything set up that's going to be relevant to you over the next few days. And so if you haven't already taken the time to go through that, be sure to, and we'll actually be touching on a couple of things that are covered in that fast start if you haven't gone through it. So like I said, you're not late, you're right on time. And for those of you guys that have taken the time to go through that, just by a show of ones in the chat, how many of you have had the opportunity to go through that, the foundational stuff, set up the apps, open your trading account, get into a position where you're ready, really ready to hit the ground running with this free trial? Drop a one in the chat if you've had a chance to go through this, just so I can kind of gauge, who's had an opportunity to work through it, who hasn't. Okay, so I'm seeing some ones, which is great, fantastic, amazing. Okay, perfect. So let's talk about it, man. Let's get into it. This is really what it looks like, by the way, when you're going through this kind of free trial fast start. I'm going to drop the link one more time in the chat for you guys. This is the homepage. There's a little welcome video that I put together. And then there's, step one, understanding the free trial and joining the actual Telegram group, which I'm going to assume that everybody here is already a part of. If you're not already a part of it, maybe one of the leaders on this call can drop the actual Telegram channel link in the Zoom chat. That would be fantastic if someone was able to do that for me. That'd be great. But in here, really there's two different sections that you would have had the option to choose and go through. So depending on where you're located, there are different trading platforms that we will use to engage in the markets. The first thing that I spent, believe you guys will laugh at me probably, but the first thing that I spent literally my first month researching, my first entire month, 30 days, trying to figure out was where to actually trade and invest. I started in crypto. That was the thing that I was most interested in. And at the time, back in 2018, okay, we're rewinding. This was back when it was like taboo to be talking about crypto. There were not very many resources online to be there for you to get started. So I spent literally my first month trying to figure out where do I go to trade. I was at the bank. I was like, hey, I want to buy Bitcoin. They're like, dude, you're a lunatic. You know what I mean? Like the bank's telling me this. They didn't say that to my face, but they're like practically, not, they're alluding to that. They're like, dude, you're crazy. Like you should get set up with something different. Crypto's not the wave. Bitcoin was priced at like $4,000 a coin back then. You look at today, fast forward 7 years later, it's like $84,000 a coin. So obviously, it was a very different time back in 2018, but I literally spent my first month just trying to figure out where to trade. That's something that is literally in the fast start. It's the very first thing that you're going to be going through if you haven't gone through it already. So if you are based in Canada or basically anywhere except the United States, you more than likely got set up with something called PU Prime. Now, to make this a little bit easier to understand, PU Prime is kind of like the vehicle, if you will, to be engaging in the financial markets the way that we are specifically using MetaTrader 5, which we're going to get into in a second here as well. And it's very similar to, maybe you have an investor's account at your bank. Same kind of deal. PU Prime is a broker that's allowing you to trade various assets in the market. So you're not limited to just one asset class, which is something that I like. You're able to trade crypto, foreign exchange, stocks. There's a lot of offerings with PU Prime that you have access to through PU Prime. Okay. Now, obviously, step number two was downloading MetaTrader, which is the actual trading application that we're going to be overviewing on today's call. I'm going to show you guys how to take a trade using the platform and just better understanding how to actually navigate it. That is one of the videos that's on the actual fast start, but we're just going to overview that to make sure that everybody's clear on understanding how to navigate everything. And if you're based in the United States, okay, you probably would have seen video content on Liquid Brokers. All right. This is the broker that we've personally, put together for, we didn't put it together, but we're using for this free trial and put together in the fast start for those of you that are based in the United States. Okay. It's a platform that's unique specifically to the US. You can use it outside of the US as well, but it's the best option for the United States, just as PU Prime is the best option for Canadians and people outside of the States. Okay. So these are the two sections that you would have gone through already if you went through the free trial fast start. If you haven't gone through it, like I said, no worries. We're going to be overviewing some of the same information today on the call. And you can also, after this call, go back through it in your own time and make sure that you've covered everything and that nothing has been missed. Okay. Now, now that that's out of the way, we're going to continue. We're going to come back to that in a second. But what I want to go over is at a very basic level and foundational level, what is trading? All right. And this is, like I said, this is going to be, the A to Z kind of basic foundational principles that you have to consider and understand as someone who's getting started in this space and during this free trial. This is going to be something that's going to be important to understand. So first things first. All right. When we're taking a look at this chart that's on screen, you might look at this and be like, Donnie, this looks like a heartbeat monitor, man. This looks like hieroglyphics. I have no idea what I'm looking at. This is confusing, whatever the case may be. All right. I remember looking at charts for the first time in 2018. I had this conversation in high school. This is in grade 12 before I actually started investing. And my friend was like excited. He's talking to me about it. He's from a wealthier family, and his family was teaching him about stocks. And so he was like super fired up about it, and he was sharing it with me. He's like, "Yeah, man, like you can, put money into certain assets, and you're just making money with your money sitting in these investments." And he's t trying to explain to me stocks, and I'm like, I couldn't get my head wrapped around it. I was like, "Dude, I don't get this. Like, can you explain it to me in different terms?" He tried a bunch of different terms, and eventually it ended up clicking. But I want to give you guys the simplest terms to understand what you're looking at right now on screen. Okay. Any given chart. Right now, we're taking a look at, if you look into the top left corner, this is USD CAD. So this is a currency pair. All right. It's called a pair because there's two. You have US dollar against the Canadian dollar. Okay. So that's being shown in the top left corner. All right. Basically, what a chart is showing and illustrating is quite simple when it's put to you in these terms that we're going to be sharing with everybody today at a very basic level. Okay. All that we're seeing with this chart is very, very simply, essentially put, the fluctuation of the exchange rate or price over time. That's all that's being illustrated on this chart. Okay. Now, the kind of x-axis down here, this is showing you the timeline for this chart. So this is back September 2015, October, November, December. We're on the daily time frame. So every single one of these red and green bars is representing 1 day of trading. As a trader, you can change the time frame that you're looking at to kind of get like a more zoomed out long-term perspective, or maybe you want to take a closer look to kind of catch these shorter term trades. As a day trader, as day traders, a lot of us on this call, we're taking trades that are fairly short and sweet. We're not holding them for, extended periods of time, but you can look to hold trades for extended periods of time. And so the time frame that you're looking at a chart might be something to consider depending on what style of trading you want to incorporate given your current commitments. Maybe you got family, kids, looking after kids. Maybe you're working full time in school full time, whatever the case is. Depending on how active you want to be involved in the markets, you can choose to be a day trader, who's someone who's quick in and out of the markets, for an hour, 2 hours, maybe every day. Maybe you want to be a swing trader, which is someone who's buying and selling and looking to position themselves over the duration of like a few days to a few weeks. And then you have position traders. Maybe write this down, by the way. This isn't in the slides. So you have day trader, which is like short term, few hours, few minutes, depending on the trade. You have swing traders, which is like a few days to a few weeks. And then you have position traders that are really looking to position themselves over the long term. So for multiple months at a time, sometimes multiple years at a time. Okay. So simply put, you have x-axis. This is showing you the timeline. The y-axis over here is showing you the actual price, or in this case, the exchange rate of the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. Okay. So at the time of this screenshot, this is an older screenshot. I pulled it from an older PowerPoint. The exchange rate was more or less around $1.34, which means that for every 1 US dollar, that is making up and is the equivalent to $1.34 Canadian. Okay, so for every 1 US dollar you have, that has the buying power of $1.34 Canadian. Okay. Now, what's really cool about the way that we trade, and again, I wish this was something I was aware of when I first started because it was not. Okay, I'm teaching you all the right way the first time. Understand this, write this down in your notes. As a trader, you can make money both directions. So it doesn't matter if the market's going up, it doesn't matter if the market's going down. You can profit both directions, which means that trading, by definition, is a recession-proof skill. When you learn this skill, when you get to a point where you are independently profitable, which is ultimately the goal, but also we want to get you paid while you're learning the skill. That's where the trade ideas come in. Okay. You can get to a point where you're not worried about recessions, okay, depressions, these different things that happen and that are just a reality that comes with economics and a poorly structured, monetary system at the moment. Maybe things change in the future, but these are things that are just natural every, usually between 7 to 8 years, we'll have a recession. Okay. This is a recession-proof skill, though. You actually are in a position where you can make money both directions, regardless of what the market does. However, if you are buying and holding and just actually buying and holding the actual asset and just waiting for price to appreciate, you are limited in only making money if the price goes up. However, the way that we're trading, okay, notice how there's two different options here. I'm going to explain each of these very simply put. So when you're trading on MetaTrader 5, which is using PU Prime, or when you're trading on Liquid Charts, which is using Liquid Brokers, okay, the two different trading platforms that we're going to be overviewing on today's call, you have the option to buy or sell. Now, what does that actually mean? Okay, when you press buy, what's happening is you are anticipating the price or the exchange rate of whatever it is that you're looking at to increase. As price increases, you make money. When you take a sell position, inversely, you are anticipating the price of whatever asset it is that you're looking at to go down. And as it does, you're making money. So really, this is the most simple understanding that you can have when it comes to buying. Buy means up, sell means down. You can make money in both directions. And the understanding that I want to make very clear, because sometimes, well, actually, I just know this for a fact for me personally, I didn't really understand how I could sell something that I didn't own at first, right? And maybe some of you guys are experienced. You're like, I still don't fully understand what it means to sell on MetaTrader 5 and I'm making money as the market's going down. Okay. The difference, okay, I like to put this into simple terms. It's imagine you're trading a directional contract. So buy is, you purchasing a contract that states, I believe price is going to go up. Sell, you're purchasing a contract that believes I believe price is going to go down. Even more technically, to take it a step further, when you take a sell position on, for example, USD CAD, which is what we're looking at on screen right now, basically all that you're doing is purchasing the Canadian dollar, anticipating the Canadian dollar to gain strength against the US dollar. So the USD CAD chart is going to go down, right? But you're buying the second asset in the pair against the first asset in the pair. So it's just another way of referring to you doing the inverse of, let's say, in this case, buying, right? You're buying the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. You're buying the Canadian dollar against the US dollar when you're taking a sell position. Hopefully, this isn't too confusing, but to keep it most simple, buy, you're anticipating the exchange rate to go up. Sell, you're anticipating the exchange rate to go down. As price moves in the direction that you are anticipating, you're making money. Okay. Is everybody with me so far? Drop a two in the chat. You guys are following me so far. And I understand maybe there's even some, still some confusion with that being said, and that's okay. Maybe we'll open up the floor for some Q&A at some point on today's call. I'll actually make a point to because I think that would be good. But that is simply put trading and how it works. Okay, obviously there's more to it that we could get into. But that's something that I think is very, very profound and significant is the fact that you are in a position where once you've learned this skill, because it is a skill, you are in a position where you can make money both directions. Okay. So you're not limited to just asset appreciation and the price going up. You can actually be taking trades on these platforms and making money as the market goes down as well, which is huge. Now, something that's very, very important, and I would say the biggest thing when it comes to trading is the importance of risk management. Risk management is the first and foremost skill that you have to understand and you have to practice in order to really make it in this industry. Okay, I'll be the first one to tell you guys, right? Just like in any other industry or any other profession, the people that reach the pinnacle of success are far fewer than the vast majority who dabble or try or dip their feet in to any skill. For example, let's talk about sports for a second, okay? How many basketball players actually make the NBA? 1%, if that, maybe, probably less. Same thing with hockey, NHL, soccer, right? We're talking about the FIFA World Cup. How many people actually get to play at the highest, most pinnacle level in their professions. Well, it's a fraction of those individuals. So when we think about trading, the people that really make it at a high level and end up turning something like this into their full-time pursuit, it's very, very few people. Okay. Now, do with that what you will. I'm not trying to, scare anybody away from the skill of trading, but just understand that there is a better way to go about it when it comes to risk management. That's what I want to get into right now. Okay. This is something that was shared with me. I'll actually never forget this. This was like one of the most pivotal moments in my trading career. This was shared with me about a year and a half into my experience. Okay. Imagine trading without proper risk for a year and a half. That didn't get me very far. I'll tell you that for free. Okay. You wanna trade with risk management. Risk management is you being very calculated with your trades, how much you're risking, how much you're looking to make on every single trade. Now, the importance of risk to reward, okay, write this down in your notes. Risk to reward is absolutely crucial. And I'm going to give you guys a couple examples, a couple of scenarios that really put into perspective what I personally believe and can say, backed by statistics, has worked the most effectively for me over the past 7 years is a positive risk to reward ratio. Now, there's two different examples on screen here. All right. Not that there's a right or a wrong way, but there's just a more, I guess you could say, advantageous way to go about trading. So you have example number one. All right. Example number one, you were predetermining your entry, your exit, both for a loss, assuming price goes against you, or for a win, assuming price goes in your desired direction. Okay, we have different parameters that are placed. One is called a take profit. Write this down in your notes. One is called a stop loss. Okay, these are the two parameters that are going to serve as our safety net. Stop loss is a safety net. Take profit is what's going to take you out of the market at a predetermined level in profit. Okay. This is something that you can set and be predetermined and preemptive in setting before the market reaches those areas. That way you don't have to be living on the charts. Huge misconception that I'm gonna crush right now is that you as a day trader need to live on the charts. You do not. Okay. The vast majority of people that we work with, believe it or not, it's crazy to think about. This is not how it was when I started back in 2018, 2019. I was literally living on the charts. You do not need to live on the charts, man. You can set it and forget it. You can be in a position where you're actually only looking at the charts maybe 30 minutes a day. Maybe. Right? So some of you guys that are on the call and that are a part of the community, maybe you don't even spend any time on the charts. You're just taking trade ideas right now. And that's totally cool. Right? But there are different things that you can use, different tools that you have access to that will make this far easier, more seamless, and not going to take away from anything that you're already doing. So with example one, notice how it says 1% risk, 1% reward. Okay. This is what we call a one-to-one risk to reward ratio. You could be risking $10 a trade to make $10 a trade. Okay. Example number two, you're risking 1% to make 3%. This is what we call a 1-to-3 risk to reward ratio. Maybe you even want to draw these two out in your notes. For example one and example two. Feel free, by all means. Take a picture, whatever you'd like. Okay. When I first started trading, not only was I not using proper risk management, I didn't even know what it really was, to be honest. I was just like throwing money at the wall, hoping it would stick. It does not work. It's not a very good strategy. Take it from me. But when I was introduced to this principle, I started to see the value in using what is called a positive risk to reward ratio. So me taking a 1-to-3 risk to reward ratio is very advantageous in comparison to taking a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. There's not anything wrong with this. It's a different style of trading. But what we'll get into with an example here is why trading with a positive risk to reward ratio can be more advantageous to you, especially as someone who's just starting out. So let's focus on example one for a second. Okay. Now I'm going to use numbers and statistics that are like average for someone who's just starting out in the markets. Okay. So notice on the left-hand side here, let's say you took 10 trades in a week. Okay. It can be 10 trades in any period of time. We're just using a week in this example. Maybe it's 10 trades in a month. Hopefully it's not 10 trades in a day. That would be a lot. but maybe it's 10 trades in a day. Okay. And on average, I would say when somebody first starts out trading, you'll have about a 30 or 40% accuracy in the markets because you're just starting out. You don't know up from down, left from right. Maybe you're just starting out. Okay. So let's say you're winning 4 trades out of the 10 trades. All right. Well, if you're risking 1% a trade or $5 a trade or $10 a trade, whatever the case is, okay, you win four. We're going to stick with percentages for this example. You win four, so you're plus 4%. But then you also take 6 losses. So you're down 6% on your, losses. Okay, you're risking 1% a trade. You're up 4% with your wins. So the outcome at the end of that week is minus 2%. All right. When looking at example two, okay, this is a very different outcome despite the exact same parameters being taken into consideration here. 10 trades in a week, 4 wins, 6 losses. The outcome is drastically different. In fact, it's better than what you're probably making every year with your bank. 1% risk, 3% reward. So if you're taking a trade, you lose 6 in a week, you're minus 6 on your losses. Nothing changes there. But for every win, you're in a position where you're profiting 3%. 4 times 3 is 12, minus 6% for your losses. You're still netting a profit of 6% at the end of the week. Okay. Now, not every week's going to be the same. Some weeks you might be doing better. Some weeks you might do, not as great. Some weeks you might lose. Okay. Maybe more than, 6 times out of the 10 trades you take. But just to put into perspective the power of risk to reward here, you can actually be losing more than you're winning and still profitable at the end of the week. And I mean, this is a significant number when you consider it in the grand scheme of things. Something that was so empowering for me when I started to learn this as a skill, trading and investing, is I wasn't just making do with what the bank was so generous to give me, 1%, 2%, 3%, annually or whatever it is. Maybe I have a high interest e-savings account. I think I was getting like 1% a month just for keeping money parked in there. Maybe you have actual investments with a financial advisor. Maybe they're paying you, 10, 12% a year, which is great. It's not even a bad thing. When you take the power into your own hands, though, when you're very calculated, when you decide, when you make the decision, leaving today's call that you're going to learn the skill, this is a skill that can completely make those results look like baby food that the bank's giving you. Truly. Okay. And it's really not that difficult. All it takes is doing the right things long enough consistently and making sure that you're, going through the motions of learning. So this is the importance of risk to reward. 1 to 3 is typically what I will preach as the bare minimum for traders. Looking at a position or looking at an opportunity in the markets, risking 1% to make 3%, risking $10 to make $30, risking, $100 to make $300 on a trade. That way you're in a position where even if you're wrong more than you're right, you're still profitable. One of my favorite jokes or kind of ongoing jokes in the community, and it's just the facts, to be honest. It's not even, it's a joke, it's funny, but it's kind of just the facts too, is, name another industry. You guys let me know in the chat. And if you know this joke, maybe don't say the actual answer that I'm going to share in a second here, but what other industry can you keep your job, keep your career, despite being wrong and messing up more than you're right and getting it right? I'm actually curious to see what people drop in the chat. I'll stop sharing my screen for a second. I'm curious. Government. That's hilarious. That is pretty funny. Okay. What else? What do you guys think? Like think of a high-paying job, a high-paying career where you could literally be wrong more than you're right and keep your career and keep your job. There's not very many options. There's not really many options out there when you think about it. Government, I mean, I guess it depends, who's supporting you, right? Weather, usually that's something that I like to make the joke of. It's like the weatherman can be wrong vast majority of the time and keep his career. You know, it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be raining tomorrow. It doesn't rain. It's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be sunny today. It rains. It's like, okay, cool, man, great. But jokes aside, something that's really great about trading is that you could be wrong way more than you're right and still be profitable. Let's put this into perspective. Okay. Risk to reward, like I said, 1 to 3 is a bare minimum. And if we take a look at this screenshot, I think this is very eye-opening, especially if you're seeing this for the first time. Certainly take a screenshot of this. This is the risk to reward cheat sheet that I think really puts into perspective the power of risk to reward. Okay. So here on the left-hand side, you have the different types of risk to rewards. You have 1 to 1, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5. Okay. And then you have the win rate across the top, 20% win rate, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%. So when we're taking a look at a 1 to 1 risk to reward where you're risking 1% to make 1%, you have to be pretty skilled as a trader to be winning more than you're losing. Because if you're not, you're just not going to be profitable with a 1 to 1 risk to reward. Like you have to be winning at least 60% of the time to be profitable. With a 1 to 2, it's a little bit less. Okay. You can actually be profitable winning only 40% of the time. With a 1 to 3, you can literally be right 30% of the time and continue to be profitable. And then obviously 1 to 4 and 1 to 5, you're in a really, really good position where you could be literally right 2 out of 10 trades and still be profitable because of risk to reward. So this is a very unique opportunity. And I think it's a different perspective for a lot of people maybe seeing this if you're newer. And just know you don't have to be like some market guru, trading, guy or gal that's like super experienced to be doing this stuff. Sure, having experience helps 100%. But understand that all of the trade ideas that we share and that we're going to be sharing in the free trial have a bare minimum 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. So even though you don't have experience to identify trading opportunities yourself independently, we'll be sharing ideas over the duration of the next 72 hours with you guys. And we do this all the time, by the way. This is just something we're doing for free, and you guys get to be a part of for the next 72 hours. Like this is stuff we do every single day, a part of the community. But you get the opportunity to engage in some of those same trade ideas over the next 72 hours and really get a taste for what this is like on a regular basis for so many people inside of our community, and we're very excited about it. We're fired up about it because I think it's a great opportunity for you guys to see what's possible, and how consistently we do these, these different things in the markets. You know what I mean? So it's super super excited. I'm fired up for it, at least. I don't know. Like I said, I wish I had this when I first started. And just before we dive into the actual platform examples, I want to show you guys and illustrate compound interest because this is something that is, really, it's been coined as like the eighth wonder of the world. Okay, maybe you're seeing this for the first time, and I'll actually share this spreadsheet. If you guys ever want to use this or edit this or illustrate this to somebody else, you're more than welcome to. Okay, I'll actually share the link in the chat for you guys right now. But on the second page, this is the welcome page we're on right now. If we go into the second page, it's actually illustrating compound interest. This is the power of compound interest illustrated over the duration of 12 weeks initially, and then it continues down to 52 weeks. Okay. Now, I want to be very clear in saying that this is just for illustration purposes. As a trader and investor, this is constantly going to be changing from one week to the next. Like you might have a week that is stellar. Okay. We had someone last week who, if we're taking a look at it in terms of percentages, scored about a 60% week. Not typical. I don't want to make that like an expected result, okay? Because it's not. Results aren't typical, but don't be typical, man. If you're going to be doing this as a trader, like strive to be the best you can be. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom into this here, and I'm going to focus on the left-hand side, and we'll take a look at the right-hand side here in a second as well. Okay, so let's say that you were to start an account for just this free trial, all right, just for the next 72 hours, and you threw $100 in there. Okay. If we're taking into consideration this right here, we're focusing on bare minimum 1 to 3 risk to reward ratios, and we're taking this statistic as the average. Again, it's not going to be every single week, but the average week. Okay, the average week, 4 wins, 6 losses, you're looking at an outcome of 6%. If you had 3 wins and 7 losses, I believe the outcome would be, well, let's see, let's do the math on this. 3 times 3 is 9. You'd be netting a profit of 2% that week. Okay. So even if you're taking only 3 wins, you're still profiting with the 1 to 3, right? But we'll take the average, which is 6%. That's gonna be $6 on a $100 account. Okay. You might look at that and be like, dude, that is nothing. You're like, $6 is like, I don't even think that's enough for me to pay for, my full Starbucks coffee or fancy whatever drink you're getting at Starbucks. You know what I mean? Because inflation, I think you're probably maybe like a dollar shy from your Starbucks. You know what I mean? But understand the compound effect, okay? Over the duration. Now, you guys are here for 72 hours, but to put the perspective into place here for 12 weeks, you and averaging 6% a week. Again, you're going to have weeks that are better than that. You're going to have weeks that maybe are break even. You're going to have weeks that are maybe you're down on the week. Okay. It happens, right? But on average, let's say that you were doing this consistently, you're in a position where you've quite literally doubled your principal investment in the span of 3 months, losing more trades than you're winning. So that is the perspective of compounding your account. Okay, because the 6% that you made your first week, made you $6 on your $100 investment. Now your balance is $106 to start the second week. You're making a little bit more that week. Okay, notice how the profit is progressively increasing. That's what compound interest looks like, and that's what it is put into perspective. This type of a spreadsheet, guys, instead of it saying week one, two, three, four, so on and so forth, this is usually like year one, year two, year 12 for you to double your income or double your principal investment, we'll say, with an institution, with a bank. So that is the power that you're deciding to take into your own hands in learning a skill like this. Am I guaranteeing anything? Am I saying that it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows? No, man, absolutely not. Like you got to understand that trading is a skill that you need to commit to learning. We just want to make that process easier and more fast-tracked for you. We want to get people paid over the next 72 hours. Okay, from trade ideas. Because again, while you're learning the skill, let myself, who's been doing this for 7 years, let some of the educators that we work alongside, who've been doing this for, in some cases, a decade or more, let us feed you, so to speak, the fish as you're learning to fish. That's the beautiful thing about trading, man, is you can come into this. There's a lot of people on this call that are completely brand new, right? Think about, school, high school, university, college, whatever. Okay, if you're specializing in something, you have to usually finish your degree before you can get paid in your field, unless you're doing something in the trades or some sort of a co-op opportunity. For me, I was at a University of Waterloo. I was studying in recreation and leisure studies, and then I would have had 2 years of teachers college if I continued before I could get paid and work in the field teaching. That's what I was, on track to doing. Then I decided to withdraw from my program to pursue trading and entrepreneurship and educate in this space because I felt like there wasn't really education here. Like this stuff's not taught in school. So, and I didn't want to be stuck teaching off a curriculum I didn't fully resonate with. I'm not saying to drop out of school, stay in school. In fact, I kind of wish I did to network more. In digressing though, what I'm saying is that we want to get you paid in the field of trading as soon as we can. We want you to get paid taking the trade ideas that we're taking as experts, people that have been, that have been doing this consistently at a very high level for years. We want you to get paid while you're still learning the process. In school, we're taught not to copy off of, other people's tests. It's like you get in trouble for doing it. Here, it's like we're encouraging you to copy us. Like we want you to, man. Like being a copycat is not a bad thing. Not in trading when you're copying the experts that have been doing this for years. So with all that being said, what I want to do is illustrate, and I did record 2 videos and I dropped them in the chat, the free trial Telegram. I'm going to drop them right now here as well. But I recorded 2 videos illustrating exactly how to take a trade idea depending on what platform you're using. So if you haven't already seen these videos, this is absolutely crucial that you go into the Zoom chat and you click on whichever one is relevant to you depending on which platform you are using. So if you're on PU Prime, you're using MetaTrader 5. Okay, make sure you click into that YouTube link and you save that video, watch it if you haven't already. And same thing for liquid charts. All right, so if you're in the US only, or you're on liquid charts for whatever the reason is, or liquid brokers, click on that YouTube video link, and it's going to be an exact video on how to copy and paste using that particular broker. Okay. Just based on timing, I'm just seeing the time here. Um, we'll probably get an opportunity to take a little example trade together if you guys want me to. I mean, I'm happy to. We can take a little example trade together, right? But I would really encourage you guys to watch those videos. It's very short, sweet, to the point, how to copy and paste and take a trade idea together, or following along that video. So we'll take one together on today's training at the very end. But what I want to do, just in case anybody has not already, gone ahead and created their account, their broker account to trade on demo or on live, for the duration of this free trial period. I'm going to show you guys how to navigate to that from the free trial page. Okay. So once again, I'll drop this in the chat. If you haven't done this, you can follow along with me right now in real time. Okay. You can use the link in the chat. But essentially put, there's a welcome video. Okay, I just kind of welcome you and expect, overview what to expect on this particular page. Scroll down, you're going to see the free trial and channel. You can join the Revolt channel for the free trial if you haven't already. I'm pretty sure everybody here is already in there. But step two, this is what you're going to want to focus on if you haven't already created your trading account. So you're going to click here if you're based in the US. You're going to click here if you're based in Canada or anywhere outside of the US. All right. The very first step for you is going to be to create an account with the broker, either PU Prime, if you're Canadian or based outside of the US, or in this case, if you're American, it's going to be with Liquid Brokers. All right, Liquid Brokers looks like this. Okay, it's very simple, client type, personal account, basic account registration info. Going to create a password, and that's basically the process of registering and creating an account. Same thing with PU Prime. Okay, very similar, different look, obviously different platform. All right, but these are both regulated brokers. Okay, it's very important that we're trading on platforms that are fully regulated. Okay, this is like a huge thing in the trading space. Like you want to make sure you're trading on a platform that's regulated. The difference between a regulated broker and an unregulated broker, just so you guys know, is that unregulated brokers do not have insurance on funds, which means that if the broker's here today and gone next week, the money you're trading with in that account is probably gone as well. Okay. With a regulated broker, the funds are insured. Okay. You having insurance on your funds is the difference between your money being in your trading account next week and it not being in your trading account next week. So that's a huge, huge, huge thing. Both platforms are fully regulated and licensed to operate in the places and the jurisdictions that you have to choose from, depending on where you're based out of and located. Okay. So very important point. That's why these are the two specific platforms that we're recommending, because the last thing we would do is recommend a trading platform that, number one, we're not using. Like these are platforms we're both all of us are using in the community. And number two, we want to make sure you guys are using the right platforms. You don't want to be caught using the wrong platforms and you not be aware of it or know about it, and then something happens. Okay, we've seen it happen before, right? We want to make sure you guys are taken care of. So, yeah, so that's the process. Once you've created an account, there is a video that shows you how to actually fund your live trading account depending on which broker you're using, either Liquid Brokers or PU Prime. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. Okay, especially if you're using PU Prime and you're Canadian, it's like literally just e-transfer is the easiest way to do it. You can also fund using crypto or like Visa or debit. Usually, I recommend e-transfer if you're on PU Prime. It's the quickest, it's the easiest, and the withdrawal time is also the quickest and the easiest. Sometimes with Visa or debit, it can be 4 to 7 business days or 7 to 10 business days or something. So e-transfer is much quicker. Okay, if you're on Liquid Brokers, it's a little bit different. You more than likely are going to have to use Cash App and do the Bitcoin route. You can try using card. We've had some people that have had success. We've had some people that are being given a hard time. So it really just depends. You can try whatever you like for funding. But yeah, once you have your account set up, very simple. There's tutorials on how to log in and actually trade from the account. And then those two videos I dropped in the Zoom chat are how to take trade ideas using, depending on which platform you're using, those particular trading platforms. Okay. So it's very simple. Like the fast start kind of does everything for you. All you got to do is, go through the motions of setting up your trading account. Okay. Very, very simple, very streamlined, very straightforward. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to illustrate this as if you've already set up your broker account. Now, I'm going to assume a lot of you guys already have done this, which will be great because we'll go ahead and we'll actually take a trade together just for demonstration purposes. So if you are on a live account, maybe just walk me go through the motions with this, watch me go through the motions with this because this won't actually be an official trade idea. I'm just going to illustrate this on a demo account for you guys. If you're using a demo account, feel free to go through the same motions because it's monopoly money in the real market, right? So let's go ahead and do this here real quick. I'm going to go ahead and share my phone screen, and we're going to start with PU Prime using MetaTrader 5. And I'm going to go ahead and share my phone screen real quick with you guys. And these are platforms you can also access from the web, by the way. But we're just going to be using it from mobile for this, particular free trial because it's simplest, it's easiest. You can do it while you're out and about and on the go. Okay. Now, let me actually take a look at something real quick. Where is because maybe we can call it a real trade idea, depending on where we're at, depending on where we are at. Okay. We could maybe give me a second, you guys. I'm gonna see if we can actually take a real trade idea together. Yeah, we'll do it just for demonstration purposes. Just for demonstration purposes. So here I'm on this is my demo account with MetaTrader 5 and PU Prime. Okay. We're going to do this as a demonstration. So again, I'm going to repeat, this is not a real trade idea. If you're trading with real funds, just observe me as I do this on a demo because I'm doing it on a demo. So it doesn't really matter what happens with this particular trade. All right. But I'm going to show you guys how to take a trade, assuming there was a trade idea just for fun. Okay. So let's just say that there was a trade idea that came out. I believe I actually have this in my Telegram. I can show you guys the example that I used in the video. I believe it's still here. Okay. This is the example that I used in the videos that I recorded earlier today on how to take a trade using MetaTrader 5 or liquid brokers or liquid charts. Okay. So trade idea is going to come out looking like this. A couple of things that are very important to consider. Number one is the actual asset that you're looking at, the currency pair that you're looking at. So in this particular example, we have EUR NZD. That is the euro against the New Zealand dollar. So the first thing I'm going to want to do for my trading platform, we're going to start with MetaTrader 5, and I'll show you guys this on Liquid Brokers as well, is I'm going to want to look through the quotes page, which is the bottom left corner, and take a look to see if Euro NZD is in this list. Okay, you guys can actually see it. It's already added to my list at the very bottom here. Euro NZD. If it wasn't in the list, I'm going to search it and I would add it into the list. Okay, there's a little green button, like for example, EuroCAD. If I click this little green plus sign, it would then be added to my quotes page. All right. Now, all I'm going to do when a trade idea comes out is I'm going to click on the specific asset. In this case, it's Euro EUR NZD. If you're trading on PU Prime, make sure it says .s. Okay, that is the suffix that is specific to PU Prime. I'm going to click on trade. And this is the actual trade window. So again, if you're on a demo, feel free to kind of follow through the motions with me in real time. If you're trading on a live account, this is for demonstration purposes, so you don't actually have to take this trade with me in real time. Okay. But there will be trade ideas shared perhaps later today, tomorrow, and certainly Wednesday as well. Okay. We're going to have like a number of trade ideas every day. So just look forward to that. So Euro NZD, here we have the trade idea that was shared. Okay. This is just an example. But I have Euro NZD sell by market. So what that means, by market means right here, right now. So whatever the price is on my broker right here, right now, I'm entering the sell. SL stands for stop loss. That's your safety net. That's what's determining what you're risking and ultimately going to take you out of the market for a small loss should the price go against you. TP is my take profit. I'm going to be making sure that every single trade idea for risk management purposes, so that this is like literally so crystal clear, like everybody will be able to properly take, trades using proper risk management. I'm literally going to tell you what lot size to use for every $100 in your account. So if you have $100 in your trading account on this particular trade idea, again, it's just an example. It's not a real one, but you would be doing 0.02 as your lot size for every $100. So if I had a $500 account, I'm going to do 0.02 times 5, which would be 0.10. Okay. If I had $1,000 account, right, 0.02 for every 100. Okay. So I'll do 0.02 times 10 equals 0.20. That would be my lot size for proper risk management. That way you guys don't have to worry about, manually calculating your risk. I'll literally be doing it for everybody in the free trial. Okay. So 0.02 is my lot size for every $100 in my account. SL, the price is at 1.92189. So I'm going to jump over to my trading account and I'm going to put that in where it says stop loss. 1.92189. Perfect. TP is set at 1.91098. 1.91098. Okay. And the only other thing that I'm going to have to adjust is my lot size. So on this particular account, I'm actually using a $1,500 demo. So I'm going to jump over to my calculator. Okay. It's 0.02 for every $100. All right. So it's a $1,500 account. So I'm going to go times 15. That's my lot size, 0.3. Perfect. So I'm going to adjust this accordingly. This is my lot size right here in the middle of the screen there, 0.3. And I'm going to go ahead and click sell by market because this is a Euro NZD sell by market idea. Stop loss, take profit, both those parameters are input correctly. Okay, we can see that there. Perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and click sell. All right. Now, you'll be brought to the trade page. If you're in the trade and it's immediately starting in the negatives, don't be alarmed. That's because of something called spread. All right, that's typical with any broker. It's essentially the difference between the buy and sell price. All right, when you first enter a trade. Okay, if we go to the chart window, this is actually going to show me let me go ahead and do this so it's a little bit easier to see. Perfect. It's going to show me the trade where I entered. And if I zoom out here, we'll go on a higher time frame. It's actually going to show me the SL and TP levels as well. So you can see TP there, right? This is my TP level, my take profit. This is my stop loss. So in this particular scenario, we're, as demonstration purposes only, anticipating the market to continue falling, the exchange rate to continue falling. Now, assuming that this trade goes against us, this is just, hypothetical. This is just an example. I would be losing $86 on the trade, and my take profit will be making me $110 on the trade. Now, every trade idea, when it's being shared, at the time that it's being shared, will be a bare minimum of a 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. So technically, right now, this particular trade, obviously it's just an example, but it's not a 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio, right? Because I'm risking $86 to only make 109. For it to be a 1 to 3, I would need to be risking, $80 to 8, 16, 24 to make 100, 240 for a 1 to 3. So just know that when the trades are shared in real time, at the time that they're being shared, they will be a bare minimum of a 1 to 3 risk to reward. Okay. Again, this was just for demonstration purposes. So that's how you would do it on MetaTrader 5. Now, if you're on Liquid Brokers, drop a 2 in the chat if you're using Liquid Brokers, if you're based in the States, just out of curiosity, who we got on Liquid? Okay, cool. A little bit underrepresented. I know we got a lot of Canadians and people outside of the States, but I got a love for my Liquid Broker homies. I'll be honest, I actually really like the Liquid Brokers platform. Okay. So first thing you're going to want to do, all right, for those of you guys that have created an account with Liquid, is you're going to want to go to the website that I'm going to drop in the chat. This is where you can actually log in to trade using the Liquid Pro charts. So make sure you favorite this website. This is where you're going to be able to actually take trades using your specific trading account. So when you first come to this website, by the way, you'll have to log in using your username and password. Your username is going to be your email. Your password is going to be whatever password you've created with Liquid Brokers. Okay. So in this particular scenario, I have a demo that I'll be illustrating on. I'm going to click into that account. And what I can actually do from here, by the way, in case you guys didn't know, if you click the little, if you're on an iPhone at least, you can actually, hold on, I got to figure out, I got to remember how to do this real quick. But you can actually add this to your home screen. Um, oh man, I'm going to have to remember how to do this real quick. Share button, add to home screen. It is share button. Okay. Share button. Am I tripping? Maybe it's because I'm on Brave. Add to favorites. Usually add to home screen is in this option list. Share. I'm not seeing add to home screen. Edit actions. Usually it's an option in here. If you're on Safari, it definitely is. I think it's because I'm on the Brave browser. Hold on. Let me show you guys real quick. So liquidcharts.com. Yeah, here we go. So if you're on Safari, you can add this to your home screen. All right, so you're going to want to do that. That way it's like literally an app that you can select on your home screen, just like this, which is kind of cool. So again, from there, it's going to bring up your username and password. So again, username is your email, password is the password you set up with your account. And from here, once you're logged in, this is what the website is going to look like, what the platform is going to look like. Okay, so first thing you're going to do, right? Let's pretend again, this was a trade idea that came out in real time. So we have EURNZD. First thing I'm going to want to do is search up that currency. So I'm going to type in EURNZD. I'm going to select that. Right, perfect. Here it is. Okay. Now I'm going to go to trade, which is in the bottom left corner. All right. We have a market execution or a sell by market, which is perfect. My lot size, I'm going to do a 0.02 for every $100 in my account. This demo account's a fat demo account. I think we got like 4,500 in it. So we're going to go to the calculator for this one. All right. 0.02 times 45 for 4,500. Okay, I'm going to take a zero point 0.9 lot size on this particular trade. 0 0.9. Perfect. SL, I'm going to select this and choose price. TP, I'm going to select this and choose price. You can also do different options here, but we're going to keep it simple just for price. Okay. And then SL, we're going to copy from that trade idea. Just an example, again, not a real one. 1.92189. Okay, 1.92189. Perfect. And then TP is 1.91098. 1.91098. Sweet. And then I'm going to go ahead and select sell. Boom. Now I'm in that trade. Okay. So in this particular example, we're risking about 250 to make 340. Again, this is not meeting that bare minimum of a 1 to 3. It's just an example. It's not a real example, just for demonstration purposes only. But typically, for this particular account size, I'd be risking about 250 bucks to make, if we were looking at this as an actual example or like an actual trade idea, it would want to be a 1 to 3 risk reward. So I'd be risking 250 bucks to make 750 on that particular trade. So that is the process of taking a trade idea. Okay, again, this was just for illustration purposes only, but hopefully this is resonating. How many of you guys are getting a bit more clarity on the process of taking trade ideas, having kind of seen this live? I know some of you probably saw the videos and the recording as well. But how many of you guys are seeing this a little bit, it's clicking a little bit more after having seen this? Looks seamless now. Perfect. Definitely helped. Amazing. Okay, awesome. So that is the process. That is the process. So we will be sharing ideas with you guys throughout the notification set. SL cannot be higher than the bid price. Don't worry about the message that pops up on screen for Liquid. Sometimes it'll give you this weird message, but it'll actually be fine when you go to click sell. And so this is being recorded, yes. Yeah. So this will be posted in the free trial chat um, as soon as we're done the recording. Liquid Charts is the trading platform for liquid brokers, just for clarity. So same as how P Prime uses MetaTrader 5, Liquid Brokers uses Liquid Charts as their platform. Cool. So that's really the bulk of the material and the training that I wanted to go over with you guys for this evening. But let's open it up for Q&A. Let's open it up for Q&A. You can absolutely use MetaTrader 5 instead of Liquid if you have the option to from Liquid Brokers, but I believe anybody in the States only has the option to use Liquid. But if you did set up an account with Liquid and you have the option for MetaTrader 5, you can actually use MetaTrader 5, just not if you're in the States. But let's open it up for Q&A. Who has some questions? Who got some value from today's training? I had a lot of fun delivering it. It's been a while since I've gone back to the basics, and it feels good to and to paint some perspectives that, like I said, I wish I was shared these same perspectives when I first started back in 2018. It took me about a year and a half to get this whole rundown shared with me, and so for some of you guys on your day one, it's great to be able to share that same perspective on day one. All right, great question. What should everyone do before tomorrow's meeting to be fully prepared? Great question. Right, great question. Fire it up. Let's go. Okay. My best suggestion would be to rewatch some of the videos that are in that fast start on the website. So, if you're still wanting to get some more clarity and maybe you want to even just practice taking that Euro NZD trade idea that's in the videos for demonstrating, the way to do that, create a demo account on PU Prime, create a demo account on Liquid Brokers and practice taking that trade idea a couple times, right? That way, when the actual ideas come out later today or tomorrow, you're in a position where you're fully equipped to take those trade ideas. Okay. But but yeah, missed a few, but I'm sure I'll get it from the screen record. Yeah, definitely. And if you guys want that video, I'm just gonna drop these one more time in the chat because I already have the how to copy and paste tutorials in the free trial Telegram. I'm also just dropping them in the Zoom chat. So if you want to choose whichever one is relevant to you, you can kind of favorite that YouTube video to rewatch it in your own time. Great session, but blessed to be able to tap in. I'm happy you're here. Happy you enjoyed the session and got some good value. 100%. What questions do you guys have for me though? Don't be shy. There's no such thing as a silly question, right? All these questions. Understand, everybody in this call, whether you're experienced or not, started in the same place of knowing absolutely nothing, you know? So you in being here maybe today as someone who's new, fresh off the boat, um, there's a lot of value in asking those questions because the reality is probably other people in the call have those same questions. They might just not be feeling comfortable to ask, and that's totally understandable. It's all good. But I had a good couple questions that just came in here. We'll answer these. So I'll repeat the different types of trading. Someone asked to repeat the different types of trading, 100%. So the different styles of trading, we'll actually I'll pull this up and I'll write them out for you guys real quick. Okay, there's really three different styles of trading. Okay, three different styles of trading. This is in no particular order, by the way, but you have day trading or intraday trading is another way of referring to it. So this is like, short-term trades, no longer than a full day. You have swing trading, which is, anything between, a day, like one full day, 2 full days to up to a week, maybe even a couple weeks, a few weeks perhaps. More than one day and up to a month, we'll say. Then you have position trading, which is really longer term trades, 1 month plus. Okay. A good follow-up question to that, which is which style is the best to use in the market? Personally, from my experience, the best will vary depending on the personality type that somebody has. So what I mean by that is if you have a personality type of being impatient, right? You just know yourself, you're like, man, I'm impatient. There's no way I can take a trade and wait for a week or even a full day for it to play out. You should probably focus on intraday trading. If you find yourself as someone who's, maybe if you're taking a trade and it's a shorter term trade, you feel like you need to stare at it all the time and you don't like that, having to like look at the trade as much or whatever, which by the way, even with like a day trade, you don't really need to look at it. Like you've set your parameters, your entry, your exits. Like you don't need to look at it whatsoever. You can set it and forget it, go about your business. That's the beautiful thing about trading. It makes it less emotional, which is also a huge thing to overcome. But if you're someone who feels the need to like be staring at your trade, if you're trading on a longer term perspective, higher time frames, maybe swing trading, there's going to be no point for you to stare at the trade because it's not really going to be doing a whole lot if, you're trading on a higher time frame like the 4 hour or daily time frame. So you can kind of set it, forget it, go about your business and look at it every few days. So maybe swing trading would be better for that type of person. But usually most people will find a blend which will encapsulate a couple of these different styles of trading. So you could take, like for me personally, like I do all of these. I do all of these. I have certain trades and certain positions that I will hold long term. I have trades that will go from a day trade that I've taken the vast majority of the position and closed it, but I will hold a small portion for swing trades, you know? So there's not really like a best way to do it. It really just depends on like your personality and you kind of have to identify it yourself. But what I will say is that the trade ideas we'll be sharing in the chats will most likely be day trades up to perhaps a swing trade. Where you're holding it for a couple days, perhaps, right? We're here for 72 hours, so we'll be, primarily focusing on day trades. But most of the trade ideas that are shared are like, held for a couple hours up to a couple days. What is a common mistake for a beginner trader? I think a very common mistake that I see is and this is like part of the process, we'll say, but it is something that you can avoid is using improper risk management. Not calculating your risk, right? Which is, I think, a really key point. I'll literally be doing it for you guys in the free trial. Like I'll be telling you, hey, drop this lot size depending on, the trade and depending on however many hundreds of dollars you have in your account. Like, for example, that example we did for Euro NZD, 0.02 per every $100. It's because I've actually taken the time to calculate the risk for you already. But that's something that I see a lot of traders, when they're first starting out, failing to do effectively is calculate their risk. Make sure that they are risking the same amount every single trade. That way, that statistic of, you being able to lose more than you're winning and still be profitable, it only works if you're risking the same amount per trade. If I'm risking like $50 on one trade and then $20 on the next trade and then $100 on the third trade, it's like, well, dude, you're not going to find consistency. So you want to be disciplined with your consistency as a trader. That's a big, big key point and something that I notice a lot with some beginners. But that's why you guys, really comes down to being you want to treat this like a professional, right? You want to treat this like a professional. It'll pay you like a professional, and ultimately, it comes down to having the right education. Because you don't know what you don't know when you first start out, right? What was your why? Just another income, or was it something more? Yeah. So when I started, this is a great question as well. Like when I first started trading, it was way more income focused than anything. And it eventually grows into something much more than that. Like you might be looking at trading as just, hey, this is the perfect opportunity for you to, make a couple $100 every month, a couple $100 every week. Okay. But it ends up becoming more than that, right? It's something that will expand to be a lot more. It's a lot more about like what the money can buy, and not so much the money itself, right? Like the impact you can make. I think for me, it was one of the quotes. You can maybe write this down if it resonates, but it's not my quote. I think it's Tony Robbins who says it. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. So you could be like the richest trader in the neighborhood, who's running it up, doing, living this super lavish life. But if you aren't fulfilled, if you're not, for me, fulfillment is like being able to impact people. It's like doing these free trial calls, being able to teach people the right way the first time, being able to support, hundreds of people around the world, which I've been blessed to do, thousands at this point. It's a blessing. That's fulfillment to me. So for me, it was I had a burning desire to increase my income, and that very quickly turned into now that I got this figured out, I have a burning desire to like share this with more people because who doesn't want to make more money from their phone doing something like this part time, you know? And not just for the money, but what the money can do for people, right? Did you already show how to add money to your account? This is a great question as well. It's actually in the videos on the free trial walkthrough site. So I'll show you exactly where it is because this is an important point too, so you guys can make some money during the free trial. Okay, if you go to the free trial website, which I'll drop in the chat for you guys. Trade's already in profit. Nice. It was just a demonstration trade. It actually was a real trade idea from earlier, but it wasn't at the risk parameters that would be a 1 to 3 bare minimum. So that's why I wasn't going to, tell everybody to take it. But anyways, scrolling lower, when you're on like the United States page, you'll see a creating and funding your account video right beneath where it says create your account here. So in this video, it actually talks about how to fund your account. After you've created it, it shows like the different methods in which you can do that. Same thing for PU Prime. Slightly different videos, but the same kind of gist and tutorial. Right, it shows you how to get the deposit bonus. If you're on PU Prime, there's a really nice deposit bonus as well. But it kind of shows you and walks you through the motions. Amazing, Cole. I love that. It's good, man. When your why is bigger than you, you'll find that it keeps you going when times get tough. Entrepreneurship, like understand trading is in a certain way, it's a form of I mean, trading absolutely is entrepreneurship, right? It's like you becoming your own boss, you being able to create an income for yourself independent from anything else or anyone else. You'll find yourself faced with trials and tribulations. It's just like anything. It's like you decide to go do a certain thing, you're gonna have challenges, right? But if your why is bigger than just you and making some extra money, that's what'll really keep you going because it's not some material or tangible thing so much as it's an actual feeling of fulfillment or a feeling of being able to positively impact people or a feeling of being able to take care of mom and dad and retire them or whatever the case is. Everybody has a different why, right? Treat it like a hobby, it'll cost you like one. Treat it like a business, it'll pay you like one. Facts. Very well said. Very well said. But amazing questions, you guys. Amazing questions. Any final ones before we wrap up day one? We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be back with a very special scanner training, something we have access to, and we'll actually be taking some trades live most likely tomorrow. Keep an eye out on the Telegram, ladies and gentlemen. Keep an eye out on the Telegram because we will certainly be sharing some actual trade ideas and opportunities with you guys in real time. Okay, in the Telegram group in real time. And of course, we'll be making sure everybody has those videos to refer back to for, how to take trade ideas and everything. I believe they are pinned in the Telegram group. Yeah, they are pinned in the Telegram group now, which is great. So you can actually, what I'll do is I'm gonna delete some of these here, some of these messages, just so they're not in the way. We're live. Da, da, da. Okay, I'm gonna delete this stuff here. Delete those two most recent messages. And now the most recent message in the free trial is those videos on how to take a trade. And they're also pinned as well. So as more messages come out, more trade ideas, whatever, people will be able to refer back to those videos. But cool, guys. Amazing. Amazing. Let me check out the chat real quick. Waiting for that live trade session. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Do you know why you can't use MetaTrader 5 in the US? Yeah, so the United States, the vast majority of brokers that are regulated in the US don't have licenses to use MetaTrader 5. So you actually have to have a license to be able to use MetaTrader 5. And if you do, it also needs to be licensed and regulated to operate in the States. Like, for example, Liquid Brokers has a MetaTrader 5 license, but they can't offer it to US clients. So for me in Canada, I can actually use MetaTrader 5 on Liquid Brokers, but not, someone who's maybe based in the US. Okay, so it's like a technical thing. It's just stipulations between the US and MetaTrader 5. But we are working on something like that, like Tommy said in the chat. We're going to have that unified MetaTrader 5, ideally, community at some point in the near future. Because MetaTrader 5 is, I think far superior and ideal. Which symbol is best to use on MetaTrader 5? Do you mean like which currency pair, like which quote, or what do you mean by symbol? Just got off a call for it. Let's go. Fire. That'll be great. Yeah, so each quote is opportune. So you have an ability to trade various assets. The quote is just which asset or currency pair you have access to trading. So for example, the trade that we took as an example, that was actually a trade idea that was shared earlier today inside the community. This is not in the free trial, but inside of our actual community. This is a 1-to-4 risk to reward ratio, by the way, um, at the time of us taking the trade. Obviously, at the time of us sharing it on the session, it was like right here, it is in profit, but it wasn't meeting that standard of a 1-to-3 bare minimum. It was like a 1-to-1. But anyways, Euro NZD is just the symbol that you can trade, right? You can also trade all kinds of other symbols, Australian dollar against the US dollar, New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. These are all the quotes that are in that page you can trade. And so when we start to share ideas on the Telegram group, if you don't see that particular quote on your MetaTrader 5, for example, EURNZD.S is the one you would be looking for if you're on PU Prime, the one that we just did an example with. You would just search it, and then you can click the green plus sign to add it to your page because there's a ton of different things you could trade on PU Prime. There's like I think close to a couple thousand different things that you can trade on PU Prime. But cool. Great question as well. Amazing, guys. So we will be back same day, or not same day, same time tomorrow. Not the same day. Tomorrow is Tuesday. Today's Monday. We'll be back tomorrow for another session. We'll do some live trades, and there will be trade ideas that are shared throughout the day tomorrow. So make sure you have the notifications on inside the Revolt free trial. Keep on the lookout. We'll be sharing some opportunities probably tomorrow in the morning, Eastern time, in the morning during New York session. And I'll actually be going live for my trading session tomorrow. I'm thinking I'll maybe drop that in the chat. Um, if you guys want to attend that, you can. That'll be, usually it's something that I just do for the community. But since we're doing the free trial, maybe I'll just share that link for you guys to attend as well. It's not on the actual like schedule per se. I'm just having this thought right now. Maybe I'll drop that in the free trial for you guys as well. Why not? All right. Maybe we'll trade live tomorrow in the morning. Who knows? But yeah, guys, we'll be posting this recording. Look out for it. And anybody that maybe didn't make this call, feel free to send this recording to them. Okay, guys? But yeah, feel free to invite whoever. Like if you're here and you're a guest and you're like, wow, this is really cool. Like you got some value. Like feel free to invite whoever you'd like to that Telegram group. Like this is not just for my guests or like the team's guests. Like you guys are more than happy to more than welcome to share this with more people. Like this is information that we want to be able to share to more people. And so if people like weren't able to attend for day one, no problem. The recording is going to be posted in like an hour and a half from now, max. So take the time, invite people to the Telegram. They can go through the same fast start little setup that you went through, and they can watch the recording from today and be all set and good to go for tomorrow, you know? But with that being said, guys, we'll be back tomorrow and look forward to those trade ideas. Much love, everybody. Let's see if we can get the balloons going here. Yeah, there we go. Peace out, everybody. Much love. Catch you all tomorrow.